Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3 premiere, Laws of Nature. I was not ready for this premiere because I had no idea when it was starting, and the only unfortunate thing is that I never got to do the predictions video that I kind of wanted to do because I wanted to do one for all my shows, but I never keep track of anything, and I'm kind of on like a weird CW schedule because I know because everything premieres at the same time on CW, so I'm always like, that's when stuff comes back. So it's unfortunate that I didn't get to do my predictions video, but also an amazing surprise because I got, season 3 of, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I think this was a really good start for this season. Of course, we all knew the Inhumans were going to be a big focus. We have an Inhuman, possibly alien, full-on alien creature is our villain, whose name I definitely can't remember, but it's a character from the comics who has like some crazy. If you see a picture of that character from the comics, he has like Dragon Ball Z hair because the animator or the artist does a lot of like anime inspired characters. So he has like crazy Super Saiyan 3 style hair, but it's black. So he has Raditz hair. Sorry if you don't know what that is, it just like went right over your head. But he has Raditz's hair. Doesn't look exactly the same in the show. It's not like full crazy thick anime hair, but still looks pretty cool. Also, we find out that this villain is actually the main villain, and there aren't two villains. There's just this other organization that's like, I forgot what it was called. It was like Anti-Containment Unit or something like that. So it's like ATUC or something. Like, it actually makes sense as a word, but I don't remember it. But initially it started off like, okay, they're the ones coming in and killing off killing off the Inhumans. And it was really interesting to find out in the first episode alone. It's like, all right, we have this other team that's a total mystery. We get the answer to that in the first episode, which I think is really cool. Technically we got the name by the end, but we find out that they're actually not bad guys. They're still kind of going up against S.H.I.E.L.D., but they're not the bad guys. They weren't the ones, because of course when we have that first scene of Rosalind basically in that hospital or wherever it is, and we see all those dead bodies, it's like, oh, they're capturing Inhumans, and they're the people that do the experiments and stuff, and then it's like, no, that's not what's happening. And I love that. It was like, we're not doing that. And then of course Coulson and his team, they aren't the ones doing that. So it's like, oh, so we're all good guys here and stuff like that. I thought that was a good scene. I was like, alright, so she's not the villain, but still not exactly on the same page. It's still a little different. So they're going to be rivals, but not exactly enemies, I think. At least for a little bit. And then they'll realize, okay, this is what we have to deal with. So that should be pretty interesting. I'm excited to see how that plays out, where we have this big organization that even has ties, to the president and everything. But, they're the good guys just like S.H.I.E.L.D. is, but like I said, they're going to still end up being antagonistic towards each other because, they want to help people, but it's still not on the same level. We still don't know exactly what they're doing with people because they've never captured an Inhuman. Apparently, they've only gotten to all, like, the dead bodies. So, they aren't the ones doing that. It's this new villain. And the villain also has cool powers. The crazy ability he had where he, like, blows a hole in people's hearts. Or I guess technically he erases it. I was trying to figure it out because at first it seemed like he kind of sucks their heart out almost. Because it looks like it explodes outward. But then he had the power where he basically just did like this over the wall and it just disintegrated. It was like he just ripped away the molecules in the entire wall. But it was a giant hole. And he just did like that, and the whole thing just, vanished in front of him, and it made a giant hole for him. So, I'm still not 100% sure exactly, they might not really even explain it, we'll just have to see it more and kind of figure it out ourselves, and I guess it's different when he uses it on people compared to just using it on the wall, where it just, boom, it's erased, basically. But I like the power. I thought it was pretty cool. He's looking for the Inhumans to pretty much just wipe them out. Who knows why? He's the villain. We'll get the answer, of course, eventually. But I like him. The little bit that we got to see, incredibly powerful. Honestly, kind of makes me think of Blanca, now that I think about it, from Street Fighter. Hairstyle does have a little bit to do with that, but just the style of the character, he doesn't really speak too much. He the most he said was the one sentence when he was like, "Where's the inhuman?" And then after that, he said, "Never mind," and it was just grunts and growls after that. So we haven't really gotten dialogue. He speaks fluent English, of course. um, so that was interesting. I'm sure we'll get at some point the typical hero villain monologuing scene or dialogue with the two people. But I liked it. The little taste that we got was pretty cool. He's very powerful. Stood up to both Lincoln and Daisy, because we have to call her Daisy now, which I'm kind of with Coulson. It's going to be a little weird. It shouldn't be too difficult because they did say her name. I feel like they said her name more in this one episode by saying Daisy more than they've called her Sky in any individual episode. Obviously, 2 whole seasons they've said Sky more than Daisy, but in this one episode alone, they've had to have said it at least 10 times. It was like Daisy over and over again. Like, it's Daisy now, so we can't say Sky, which sucks because I like Sky. That's a cool name. Plus, it's my cousin's name, so kind of makes sense. I do like it though, her stepping up and she's in this sort of leader position. She comes in, she has her full control of her powers. She's got sort of the just jet black outfit pretty much. Like, once you go jet black, that means you're in military mode and it means you're capable of doing whatever. So of course she has that. I like the gauntlets. They don't stick out too much. They of course fit in with the black style of the rest of her outfit. But they have like little tiny accents of, like, I believe it was gold and silver and maybe some red in there as well. But it looks really cool. I think it was a cool design to have these gauntlets. Don't know if that's similar to the gauntlets that Simmons made beforehand, where it was to help her control her powers from hurting herself, or if it's just a cool design, just yet, like, who knows. But I like it either way. Her outfit's cool. That's going to be like her typical outfit, I guess. She's going to be going out in the field way more. Of course, she already had been doing that in the last season as well, but now she's doing it with powers and everything, which is cool to see. Her under control and pushing cars and pushing people and fighting against the villain when she was teaming up with Lincoln for a little bit. And I want to see her have to go full out, because we got to see her basically do like some force push stuff where it's like, alright, she held her hands out and would just push something away. I want to see her have to go, like, just totally insane and, like, destroy some stuff, because when she didn't have control in the last season, that was the issue. It was like she was doing, like, earthquake type stuff. I want that. That's what I really want to see. I want to see her, like, have to go into, like, an earthquake situation and just destroy everything around her, which I'm sure we won't get into, like, mid-season finale, possibly just full-on season finale. But either way, I'm incredibly excited for that. That's all I really want to see now, because I was like, oh, it's cool she's got control over her powers, but I want to see her, like, just, like, clap her hands and, like, separate the ground or something like that using her abilities, or, like, snap her finger and it just, like, crushes the ground in one specific point or something like that. But I still enjoyed the abilities that we got to see from her using sort of these seismic waves coming out of her hand. It was still really cool because, of course, it's her using her powers to her, seemingly at this point, to her fullest potential. So that was great to see. It was nice to see Lincoln in this first episode as well. Also got to see his powers in a very different light, because we got to see him do sort of like the Raiden move from Mortal Kombat, where he's just doing the lightning. And that was pretty interesting. Didn't know that he could just hold and shoot lightning. So that was pretty interesting to see. He was trying to live a normal life. That, of course, failed when the main villain just came into play and he was busted by using his powers. And I was watching a review, and one of the comments mentioned that towards the end of the episode, when the president was speaking and stuff, when Rosalind went to the hospital, the person mentioned that she kind of had a certain look on her face when she saw Lincoln's picture, and one of her aliases had the last name Campbell, and that's Lincoln's last name. So they think that that might be her mother, which I completely missed. I mean, I just saw, like, wow, she just has, like, weird aliases and stuff. I didn't actually see the names. So that would be really interesting. I think that would be a cool idea if she's Lincoln's mother. And I think it makes perfect sense. It's probably 100% true. So who knows how that's gonna play out, and maybe that'll help her really team up with S.H.I.E.L.D. because she's of course in this crazy position where she has power. You know, you pull even with the president, and then we have Coulson in there, you know, kind of going head to head at this point. And then if Lincoln does team up with them, where he's, you know, he's in this very weird, almost nomadic type state where he lost the entire life that he knew before with everything that happened with the battle between S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Inhumans, where he'd been lied to for so long. And he even says, like, it's a curse to have powers now, which I thought was very interesting because that's not what he was about at all in the last season. And now he was kind of hurt so much where it was just like he doesn't even believe that the powers are a gift, like, because ultimately it led to him just losing everything that he truly loved. So I kind of like that concept, and I really want to see more of it because I think it should be pretty cool to watch Lincoln be in this weird state, even though we only got to meet him really in the last season, and that was it, really the second half of the last season. I think it was actually really cool. Like, he was, of course, the one to help Sky, and he was the optimist, really. Like, yeah, we can team up and stuff like that, and humans and Inhumans can work together. Like, he at least had somewhat, you know, a sliver of hope for that. He wasn't exactly the most hopeful for, you know, humans and Inhumans being together, but he at least entertained the idea a little bit. And now he just wants to forget that he's even inhuman and just live a normal life. So I kind of like that change for his character, where he went from the one teaching Daisy to now he doesn't want anything to do with it, even though S.H.I.E.L.D. is like all about bringing in even more Inhumans and introducing them into this lifestyle and helping people adjust. He he'd be like in the perfect position to help them transition and stuff, which would basically be the same position he had before, and he just wants to leave all of that behind. So I thought that was pretty cool. Like I said, we didn't. It's not like we got the most development out of his character because he's really new, but we did get enough to see that this is a very different guy compared to last season, and I like that. That it was a fast change for his character, but we did learn enough in season 2 for this to make sense and for it to be good, for it to be pretty cool that that he has such a different mindset about everything that's taking place. So I love that. I'm sure he's gonna be joining the team at some point. It might take a while, but I'm sure he'll be there. And plain and simple, that's just what's gonna happen. He is one of the main cast members, which you guys may have seen from the thumbnail I used, which looks really cool. They have like the cool everyone pose stance and stuff. That just caught my attention. Even when I first saw it, and when they did it on TV, it was just Coulson, Ward, and Daisy, but the picture I use has like everyone. So it's like he is in there with the other main characters, which is cool. It's really cool. Also, that guy used to be in the Tomorrow People, and I love that show, and it sadly got canceled. So I was like, sweet, he's in this. The other two leads are both in Flash, which I find really funny. And it's like one guy who's missing, and hopefully he shows up in another show somewhere too. But it was really cool. It's cool that he's going to be a part of the show. He also has my favorite superpower, which is lightning abilities. He hasn't changed that into getting super speed and all this other extra stuff, but he can fly a little bit. He levitated Daisy in the last season, so maybe we'll see him sort of boost his abilities a little bit and see him do some pretty crazy moves, which I think would be really awesome. But I love the action in this one. I like the new antagonists, even though they're technically not enemies, which we found out early on, which was a great scene with them. Coulson and Rosalind just going back and forth, and it's like, you know, we've both done our homework. We have secrets. She was spouting off stuff. I'm still kind of questioning how she learned about, like, Tahiti and even the actual line, like, Tahiti is a magical place and stuff like that. I was like, this is, like sure, she could figure out certain things. Like, yeah, the guy was supposed to be dead. You can kind of figure that out, and I guess that's how she figured it out. All the different lines and stuff. She just got information from S.H.I.E.L.D. or on S.H.I.E.L.D., I guess, and there you go. She has all the information now. But I like their back and forth. It was pretty sweet, and it's like, all right, we both have our little secrets. We both have a certain set of power, different versions of power, but we have somewhat similar goals, but not 100%. We still don't know exactly what they're doing. They don't want to kill a bunch of different people, but we still don't know what they want to do with the Inhumans. Technically, it's just like they're still going in there. They're still going out there with guns. I mean, those for sure are guns, and whatever that crazy charged weapon was the guy had in the beginning of the episode, I thought it was a machine gun, but it basically shot off like a charged shot, so that was kind of weird. It looked cool just the way they did it, but I don't know. Who knows? It didn't seem like a tranquilizer dart to me, but it could have been. I guess some super crazy trank dart. Um, I liked it though. I thought it was a good season premiere. The I'm trying to get to think of some other things that happened before I get to my favorite stuff for this one, but we did get to see Bobby and Hunter are getting, I guess, remarried, but Hunter is going out to find Ward because Bobby is in rehab after being shot in the last season. So that I think is pretty cool. She's kind of taken over the position of Simmons for a time, for a time, and Hunter's gonna go after Ward, who I can't wait to see how everything's playing up with him as one of the heads of Hydra now, because he wants to rebuild Hydra and be at the top so that he can be crazy and go after S.H.I.E.L.D. So I thought that was kind of cool. It was nice, and time had passed, so I was wondering like, oh, them not talking thing. I was trying to remember what happened in the last season, stuff like that. But they're getting remarried, so that was nice. Mac deciding to, really stay on and be a part of the team. It seems like he's fully integrated. As much as he hated the whole superpower stuff in the last season, it seemed like he's very comfortable with it at this point, which I actually really like. It seemed like he's found his position, and him and Daisy, they team up a lot, so that's kind of cool. Like they're the team that mostly goes out. I enjoyed that. They had the stuff with the axe. The axe that he used to chop off Coulson's hand was in Coulson's office in the scene where Coulson mentioned him constantly calling Daisy Sky still. The axe is like just in the background, so that's in there. We got the joke about an axe shotgun combination, which I thought was really funny. But I feel like if they did that, it would just look cool. If they did it right, it could also look really funny. And I think either way, I still kind of want to see that. So I don't mind either way. But my favorite thing this episode was definitely the Fitzsimmons stuff. I loved the stuff with Fitz in this episode. Like, it was probably the least time for the episode, but it was definitely the most interesting, especially the ending scene. Like the first scene when he was, kind of off on his own. First off, when we got the scene with him and Bobby talking on the phone, the first thing I noticed is that he no longer has like his speech impediment or anything like that. So he's back mentally to 100% as far as capabilities. But of course, he's not 100% with everything that happened to Simmons, which they do reveal fairly early on, if I remember it, in this episode. It's been some time, so everyone's like, she got sucked up by the thing. They knew that happened, and now they're just trying to figure it out. They haven't told her family, and, they just feel like they have to move on, and everyone's worried about Fitz, because of course he doesn't want to give it up. And I love that, and it was awesome. It was like, of course, it was the huge reveal in the first episode of the last season where she was gone and he was just not 100% and she's not even there and he's imagining her and stuff like that. So that was, I think in the season 2 premiere that I remember that being like my favorite thing because it was so different and it was just so incredibly well done. Like the actor, I don't know his name, and I should, because he's honestly, I think he's my favorite actor on the show because of some of the just amazing scenes that he has. But he did it again in this episode, and just in this season, he went from, such a different character from season 1 to season 2, and now he's back capability-wise to season 1, but he lost, the woman that he loves, even though they're, in that friend position, which he doesn't want to be, but that's just how it goes for us. But I liked it. I thought it was really good. And I just loved, of course, the ending scene when he finds the scroll and it's just all it says is death, which I thought it might say that, and I was like, I really hope it isn't just death, and of course that's what it is, and it just destroys him a little bit, and it was a great scene. And then he gets the shotgun and he goes to the monolith and he's just yelling at this thing and punching it and stuff. And I was like, this is my favorite scene. Him just freaking out because it's been months. Like, we know it's been months. And they talk about it. Different people even talk about it. Like, we need him here. He's so focused on this. He kind of has to cope with it. You know, this is him coping. This is him avoiding coping. And all these different kind of theories really going around about what he's doing, what he should be doing versus what he's actually doing. And then we just get this scene of him where he's like, I have the final thing. This is 1,000-year-old text on a scroll that I have to break open, and all it says is death. And it was just a great scene, and he was just at his end, and it was just so well done. I love that scene. And then, of course, we transitioned from that, aside from the commercial, of course, which is that was like probably the perfect moment to go to commercial, where he's just freaking out in front of it, and they just kind of go off to the commercial. But after that, we get the scene of Simmons, and we do find out that the monolith does warp space-time, and she's been sent to a completely different planet. She's been there for, however long it's been exactly, and she can live on this planet. She can breathe the air. She knows certain things, like when she had the little cut on her head, which maybe she was freaking out because whatever it is that's chasing her can smell blood. So maybe when she was cut, it's just, like an animal thing where it smells blood. So she knew that if she dug deep enough, she'd find, like, whatever it is. I'm just going to say it's mud. And then, she covers her scar, and it's like, okay, I'm safe at least a little bit. But she's on this crazy, color-corrected planet and stuff with like a moon and then another giant moon, or maybe a whole different planet. It's just insane. I don't know how the heck she's going to get back from this, but that was an interesting scene. I was not expecting that. It was much like the season finale where she got sucked up. It was like, okay, that just blew my mind. And this didn't blow my mind as much as that, because obviously it was just like she got sucked up and it's like, bye, that's the end of the season. So this is like, alright, at least we only have to wait a couple weeks instead of months to figure out what's going to happen next. But I like this premiere. I think it was pretty cool. I would have personally loved to have seen Ward and exactly what he's doing, but with it being the first episode, I understand they have to introduce certain concepts like, hey, there's this other group out there trying to capture inhumans, but they seem to be good guys. Then we have our actual villain who wants to kill inhumans for whatever reason. Maybe he can absorb powers, who knows. We have Lincoln kind of as a nomad at this point. We have, Simmons on this other planet, Fitz trying to find her and stuff like that. So, first episode of the season, they can't just introduce every single element, but they pretty much did. Like, the only thing that was missing, really, I think, was Ward and exactly what May's doing, because when Coulson does have his speech, which is also pretty nice during the whole Fitz thing, he mentions how he mentions how he's on his third hand because none of them actually feel right, and he mentions that he lost, his right hand because May went on vacation, and she's just gone. Like, she never came back. She, of course, will, because she's a main character. So, we'll get to see her come back. It seemed like she was coming back in the next episode. Based on the trailer, it was like, oh, well, she's coming back now. So, she's not even going to be gone that long, which is totally fine by me, because more martial arts, always fun. But it was just, it's interesting. Like, I'm loving this. I love this first episode. Ward and May are, like, the only two actual characters not in this one. And like I said, it seems like they'll both be in the next one. So, I'm totally fine with that. I did forget that Coulson lost his arm in the last season. Totally forgot that until he actually took the arm off, and I was like, oh yeah, completely forgot. But they have it in the case, so I think they're gonna eventually figure it out, and then it'll somehow reattach, and it's like, boom, he has his hand back again. So they'll figure that out, and if it ever happens again with the obelisks, where people are turned into like the ash statues, I guess, they'll be able to cure them and keep them from disintegrating and stuff like that. So, a little bit of hope there. His hand didn't completely fall apart. He's still got it in this glass case preserved. So I feel like if that's the case, it's either gonna be just like a memento where it's just here's my old hand, just in ash like this, or it actually will get turned back into his real hand and he'll have his hand back, maybe next season or 2 seasons from now they actually figure some new stuff out. But I enjoyed this first episode of the new season. I think the new team dynamic is really cool. Getting to see Sky with her powers, of course, really fun. This new Lincoln who kind of wants to leave his whole old life behind and really just be human. Very interesting. Even though, like I said, we didn't get a ton of him. We met the Inhumans in the last season, but we knew enough about this character for this to be so different. And he doesn't even want to help S.H.I.E.L.D. Bring in other Inhumans and help them transition into a comfortable life. So that was nice. We got to meet the villains, rivals, but not exactly villain rivals, and just lots of other great concepts. I want to see Hunter versus War because I'm excited for that. Hunter also was incredibly hilarious in the train scene. His math stuff, especially the second time when the guy mentioned like having 2 teams, he was like, it's one for each of us. Again, killing it on the math. That was probably my favorite comedic line in this entire episode. It was just so funny to me. But I want to know what you guys thought about this season premiere, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And I want to know what you guys think about the fit stuff, because like I said, that was my favorite. So I want to know what you guys thought about it, and if there is a favorite thing, even though of course I say, I want to know your favorite parts, least favorite parts. More specifically, what was your favorite moment? Because for me, it was Fitz in the monolith. Him shooting it down at first, that by itself was pretty cool. And I kept thinking for some reason that I think it was the style of shirt or something. I kept thinking he was reminding me of Indiana Jones for some reason. I think it was like not just the style of the shirt, but the color of his shirt and pants. I kept thinking like it's like Indiana Jones when he doesn't have after he had the suit jacket off. It was like this kind of makes me just kept making me think of Indiana Jones for some reason. I don't know if that made sense, but it did. But that was my very favorite scene for this episode, and I want to know what you guys thought about that, and just his arc and his transition. From season 1 to season 2 to now, it's just been like every season he's different, and it is amazing to watch, and I love it. Like I just can't wait to see how this continues. Him being this. He went from the broken scientist, just, the normal comedic scientist, to, like, the broken scientist, and now he's broken more emotionally than mentally, and that can be just as powerful. So, I can't wait to see how everything plays out with him, but I'm excited for this season, of course. The tie-in with Captain America, that can't be anything but amazing, so I'm really looking forward to that for next year, but I thought it was a good premiere. I want to know what you guys thought about this season premiere, and also what you guys expect for this season, just either based off of what you know from the comics or just your guesses in general. So please comment below, let me know, and of course, thanks for watching.